Yahshua gave his life for us. He shed his precious blood that paid the penalty for our sin.
your healing love pour over this place. Heal the wounded soul. Let your healing love pour over this place. Make your people whole. Restore our hearts, renew our minds, set the captives
Say, your Melkut to come, your will be done. In earth, Abba Yahweh, and in the high Shemayim. Give us this day our daily lesson. And forgive us our debt, Abba Yahweh, and we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil, Abba Yahweh. For yours is the Melkut, the power, and the honor, Abba Yahweh. Forever, Abba Yahweh.
Hallelujah.
So be it, Abba Yahweh. May it be fulfilled in the precious mighty name of YHWH HaMashiach. You feel the lesson, the bread of life this night, Abba Yahweh. Of understanding unto your nation, Abba Yahweh. That Abba Yahweh, we don't turn to the right or to the left, Abba Yahweh. We stay on the straight and narrow of the course that you have set for your misbook, for your people to follow, Abba Yahweh. In the precious and mighty name of YHWH HaMashiach, I pray. Hallelujah, hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
We greet you all. Is the voice of the sound clear tonight? Can you hear the all things? Greetings to all of you all that have joined us for this Keetvay Emet. We may expound upon those things that are necessary for the hour, the time that we're in. Vitally important to understand the promises as we were taught last Shabbat and what the Torah says. Because there are many times that we can lose focus, become disoriented, and we tend to lose faith. We tend not to trust or the confidence, because there is one thing that is lacking, that is vitally important to the process that God takes us through. There must be a soundness of assurance. We must have assurance. And as I intended to teach on the refuge again, I was working in the greenhouse and the word continued to resonate in my bones, assurance. Now I have talked on that subject, or one of us, throughout these many years I've preached. And so I began to search the archives of teachings and messages that are compiled. And I found one that I began, and I had never taught it. And I put that message together on 1/7/2009. And so as I searched the docket as to, has someone taught on this recently? And I found a teaching that Zachin Yarabia, he had taught on this. And so I will piggyback. I don't know what he said. I don't even know the composition of what he taught. I can't remember. And so I want to teach or piggyback off of that same teaching in the sense to bring the kind of resolution and nuances that are vitally important for us to understand. And I say to you, my friend Agmar Kos back there, I want you to find that teaching that Zaken taught on assurance. And I want you to play that right after this teaching. Right after that, and then you play this teaching again after that. and then you play that teaching again, all right? We'll see whether we bear witness of Haruach, just something of our own twisted, delusional ways and our imaginations. We're in the midst of a great crisis in this nation and the world abroad. Let no one trick you at all. I said to the people this morning how that yesterday in New York City alone, there was a person that died every 2 minutes. Someone died. Boom. Every 2 minutes, there was a death. Now, if we get to the reality of deaths in New York, that was in 1 day. The state like New York State or the city, that state, there is nearly 7,500 deaths a day. That's how many people, every 12 seconds, someone in the United States dies. Oh. Every 8 seconds, there is a child that's born. So the birth outpaces the death. And every 8 seconds, somewhere in the world, someone is dying. About every 3 seconds, there is a birth that has been renewed in this life. So death is a reality of what we all must contend with. We must fight, we must battle this wonderful fight of Emunah, the old man of Yah, that he is faithful. That is what his assurance is. He's faithful. He's steadfast. He is unchangeable. We have that assurance of one thing because of the promises that he has promised unto the nation. I want to teach us tonight that we may understand the very integrity of the ingredients of the word Bogdach. It represents the assurance of Yah, whereby there is safety, there is security. There are the promises of Yah that abound and that cause us as a nation to walk with that confidence of that tikva of assurance. And that's what assurance is, that we are a certainty. There is surety there. There is confidence there. There is no doubt at all. And in this moment or any moment, we must have the assurance of our King. That we know that we have the safety of his promises. We know that his promises, there is a surety that is represented in that. And so all of the assurance that we have, they're based on one thing, and that is the Dabarim, the promises of Almighty Yah. That's what it's based on. I want to begin in the book, The Writing of Wisdom. I want you to hear this. It's vitally important that you hear this. And I searched the ramifications of the word assurance in multiple resources. I want simply to read what it implies. What is assurance? It means that there is someone that has declared a positive declaration intended to give fullness of confidence. That's what assurance is. So there is a declaration that has been declared by the Almighty. It is the book that rests in our bosom, writing of YHWH HaMashiach, to give us not partial, but we may have full confidence. That is what assurance is. That it doesn't create the doubts or the bewilderment, and we wonder if this is certain. This is not how I define it. This is how the word or its origin compile this meaning. It also means it is the fullness of confidence. Not only the confidence, but the promises. Not only the promises, but the pledges. Not only the pledges, but the surety. It is freedom from doubt. That of all the definitives, that's enraptured me. That we're free from all doubt. It makes no difference how we contend emotionally, but we are free from all doubt. There is a certainty. And the reason that there is a certainty, this is how you define the word assurance. There is a certainty, certainly, and it is belief in one's ability, and we believe in the ability of Yah. We must have imunah. We must have bogdah. We must believe and have confidence that we will trust Him. And it is the belief in one's ability that brings or creates the security, the safety, and above all of that, because you believe in that, you are fully persuaded. I didn't compound this definitive. I looked at this word in the Greek, the Hebrew, and the English formation of our grammar, and this is the composition of that. And so I want to touch on those things tonight, because I know that we're wrestling within the doubts of our minds. Has nothing to do with the assurance of Almighty Yah. His words is His bond of our confidence. That is what gives us confidence. Because what He said, no one can say it. What He performs, no one can perform it. I want to just read this. I want you to be attentive to this out of the book of the writings of Shalom, the writing of the book of wisdom. As he speaks here so indelibly of that source that we utilize, that the function of that assurance rests deep in our bosom. And there is a source whereby it rises from. He speaks profoundly in the book of wisdom, chapter 6. Don't turn, just listen. He talks about she, for she, he's talking about wisdom. The Hukhmah, the wisdom, the mind of God. For wisdom, she goes about seeking. There is a desire such as that are worthy or high heel. One that is full of life, one that is energized by what Yah has promised, one that relies upon what Yah has promised. That is what, and those are the ones that wisdom seeks after. Wisdom doesn't seek after a foolish, immature man. It seeks after those that are worthy, that are high-heeled, men that are strong, daughters that are determined, that there is a purpose and a will. It's not that you're not going to have battles. It's not that fear will reap a havoc in your life at times. It's not that of her. And not only that, and she shows herself favorably. She shows them kindness. She opened the books of her treasure. That's what wisdom is. When no one speaks of times, it is experience, it is what they had to endure, so they can speak with a precise understanding. Not only have they experienced that, but they understand the legality of it. And that's what she does. She shows herself favorably to whom? To them that are in the path, in the way. That is what the Torah was always called, the pathway or the way. YHWH is our pathway that leads us unto the Siddiq and the promises of Yah. Those that are in the pathway, and she meets them. This is how she meets you. This is how she doesn't let us get away. In every singular, in every thought, in everything in our labor, she meets us there. She meets us there to incriminate us, to warn us, and to tell us, don't go that way. Don't allow your thoughts to ponder those matters. others. That's wisdom. Because wisdom speaks by the experience of Yah, and there is no one has that experience. I was thinking today, how do you try to explain the birth of Yahshua in your own foolish natural mind when you can't even explain the elements of Yah? You can explain air, or you can tell me the composition, but you cannot. You cannot explain that thing that rose up early in the morning and that shone. You cannot. You cannot explain the heights of his heaven. You cannot even explain this physical body.
Hallelujah.
It's one thing about the motion of man. He is always falling. That's what walking is. It is a perpetual falling. But yet Yah keeps him upright. It's crazy. How do you explain that? No, that did not come by some kind of morbid or some kind of transformation through some evolution. It came from the mind that produced and the mind that creates. So you can't explain. That's our problem. People ask stupid questions. They ask that for you to try to explain that. And they can't even explain life. I will not even waste my time. I don't do that. And this is what wisdom is. Of every thought, she's going to meet you there. She's going to check you. Check me. You're wrong. You don't think like that. That's not productive then. And that's going to break you down whether you understand that or not on every thought. For the very true beginning of wisdom is the desire of Yah's instruction, the Musa, the counsel, that he will correct you and guide you in his discipline. That's the concept or the inception of wisdom. You will know you desire or you have wisdom when you desire the Musa of Yah, that he will correct you, he will discipline you, he will chastise you and show you when you're wrong, because every second of the day by our own determination we're all absolutely wrong. There's nothing right about you. There's nothing right about your ways. There's nothing about your ways produce anything but the filth and the stench of sin. This is what wisdom does. The beginning of her is to desire instructions of what? Of discipline. That's what wisdom desires. And although we see this great agony that is in the land today, in every land, it will cause us to get anxious. It will cause us to be dismissive, but I'm not. You understand? He shut his people up when the death came to the land of Mizraim. Hallelujah. And concerning the instructions of discipline is to love her. So if you love the wisdom of your discipline, that you may function in what is right and correct all the time, you will love wisdom. You will not love wisdom if you don't like Yah's chastening. You will not love wisdom if you don't like correction. That's why our young ones and the babies, they have no wisdom and they don't like any kind of musa or counseling or correction. Those that are immature, they don't like that. But it's one thing, those that are mature and saturated in the love and the desire of wisdom, discipline doesn't bother you, because it brings you to the proper path, and it brings about one thing that is vitally important in this walk, YisraYah'ale. He goes on to say in the 6th chapter, and the love of her, you will know you love wisdom when you keep her Torah, when you understand the Torah of wisdom, what it implies, beginning to love Yah with all and to love your neighbor as yourself. It is hinged upon love, because Yah is love. You cannot have wisdom and the understanding of wisdom if we have this fruitless love. That's not wisdom. It is not at all. Love is a berry, it bears fruit, and people will eat from that fruit of your love and kindness. and they will respond that way. And that's just a fact, nation. It is a fruit tree. It is one of the ruchem of Almighty Yah. And giving heed to her Torah, this is what we must do. You must take heed to what Torah says. Is the assurance, the Oman. That is the faithfulness of giving heed. The Torah of Yah. That is what assurance is. It is faithful. It never fails. I don't care what your circumstances, situations are, it will never. It is firm. It is faithful. And it will always uphold us. In the midst of all of your trials and agonies, wisdom will always uphold you. When you become so flustered you don't know what to do, it is one thing about wisdom. She's faithful because she will discipline you and show you your very own determination, your own will, and show you how evil it is. That's what wisdom does. YisraYah'ale. And only in that aspect of wisdom, she is the Torah of assurance. For what? That we will live incorruptible. That we will not corrupt ourselves with the evils of the world. Do the things that the world is doing. And not only will we keep ourselves absent from corruption, and she also present unto us the smorgasbord of immortality, that there is light beyond the veil of our flesh. We see dimly, our flesh has been corrupted, it has been polluted in all facets of life. And that is what this discipline of wisdom does. It brings us back to the basics of the assurance of Almighty Yah. That Yah upholds everything that's in this book. It is upheld by the dam of Yahshua HaMashiach. And this is important. This is what Shaul recognized. He says, and incorruption to me. There is no, she is not impaired. There is no partiality in wisdom. And she, I have this. I want to read. I want to define it for us. This is from the Hebraic expression, Torim. It is this. This is what incorruption is. I did not compile this. It is helpful that you're healthy. What is incorrupt, it is healthy. One is unimpaired. Nothing blurs your vision. You're innocent. I don't care what my mind says or circumstances, but you're innocent. Not only that, this is to me. It is full of the integrity of Almighty Yah. And above all that, this is what took me not for a loop, but when I read this, it is complete entirely, not partial, not sometimes. When one is incorrupt, it is complete entirely in accordance with the facts of Torah without blemish. Hallelujah. There is no blemish, no small spot at all. None whatsoever. And so we are a nation that think we understand the ramifications of words. We don't even read them correctly. We certainly are not going to take the time to amass this corruption that we have fortified in us because of one thing. We know everything. We know everything. Just look at something on YouTube so you know everything. That's insane. You know nothing. Because if you knew everything, He would always judge and keep you correct before Yah. And that's what assurance is, and that's what incorruption is. Now I want to proceed from here. Because wisdom, as Shlomo said here, her Torah is the assurance of incorruption. That's the Torah. That's a law of life. I want to see what Shaul, Paul, Shaul in Colossians, chapter 2. Now you will find wisdom in your writings, in the Lord's book, Wisdom chapter 6. Read the entire chapter in its contextual form that you may understand. Let us examine the same mind of Shlomo that was personified in Shaul as well, as he gives us the message of what this Torah of wisdom is. He gives us a summation here as he writes to Ecclesia, those that were gathered there, those elect of Yah. Chapter 2, verse 1. He says, for I would that you knew my great agony, this great conflict, the trials and the battles I have for you. You don't realize my great propensity of my love and care and the battle that I have, that have pursued me, because you were in my heart, in my mind, and I knew that this truth had to be opened and revealed unto you. He says, and for them that are at Laodicea, for those, and for as many as have not seen my face in the flesh. He said, I know that there are those there that have heard much of me, they have never seen me, but there's a great conflict in me for you and them. And then he assures them this, that their levine, their hearts, might be comforted. I speak to comfort them. And those that are alone, to engage with me, but that their hearts might be comforted. There's one thing I want you to understand. He tells them being knitted together in love. You see, that is the law of Torah. That is the wisdom of Torah. It is the greatness of Yah's compassion. Yes. And it's a harbor foundation of his election. His Lord here. Those that he elected, not because we did something right. We were all dirty, nasty.
Yes. Yes.
And we did not stink, we stunk.
Hallelujah.
We stunk the Lord hell.
Hallelujah.
And we still stunk.
Hallelujah.
And that's just a fact.
Hallelujah.
We still stunk. This great affection. He said that we should be knitted. You see them when they, what is that, crocheting? Every knot has to be knitted and crocheted right. You can leave one, it will unravel if it's not tied into the next one. I don't care how pretty it looks. It will unravel, and that is the bond of his perfection. That we be knitted together in a harbor. There's a comma, if you will see. And he speaks in a clause here to give us understanding. And to all, not partiality or partial, but to all riches of the full assurance. Plerophoria. The full assurance. And that plerophoria, it is to have the absolute confidence. That is what it implies. You have the most secured confidence. I don't care, the battles of doubt may pursue you, but there is a confidence that cannot be wavered or will not be wavered. You will have full assurance of understanding. You'll be known. You will be able to discern. You will be able to discern you. You'll be able to see you. You'll be able to see the conflict that is in you. That's what it's about, nation.
True.
Is that you will examine your own self. We better get real. It is so easy for you to examine someone else. and point out all their wrong. Yet you never confess your faults or pointed out your wrong. Something is sick there. Something is sick there. You can see every infraction that you perceive of what I've done, and you never identify your own infraction. I've done you wrong, and I don't come and say I was wrong. It takes a coward to say to someone, if I done you wrong, you know you did them wrong, liar. Just be honest. And that's your easy cop out. Well, I want to apologize if I offended you. I want to apologize to all those that I offended. That is so cowardly. Instead of saying I was wrong, I was dead wrong. There's no doubt about it. I was wrong. I was silly, I was foolish, and I made an immature mistake. I was wrong. That's the cleansing process. You try to hold fast, you're in trouble. That's a fool. I don't care if I touch you, your grandmama, your granddaddy. Makes no difference. Let's get real. We must have this full assurance of understanding to the acknowledgement of the mysteries of Yah, the Abba, of YHWH HaMashiach. That is something that we will never understand the depths of that until we see Him. But we get the full understanding, limited within the scope of this little small mind of mine and yours. That we can come to that, we understand the great mysteries of Yah, the power of Yah. We look in the heavens. When the last time you looked in the heavens, just be honest. Unless it's the moon night. When the last time you just looked up, how many times you looked up today and just blessed Him? You don't even do it, let's give it. Don't pretend. Stop the bull. Let's get real. Don't even think like that. That's why we don't understand the greatness of His wonders.
Yes.
And then when you understand that, when you understand the greatness of that, how many times a day you look at the cloud, they even try to figure, is it going to rain or what the weather's going to be? Our minds are not there, YisraYah'ale. And that's just the fact of this life. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. He goes on to say in verse 3, he tells us in home are hid all the thesaurus, all the treasures. That's what the thesaurus mean. That's where all of the treasures of Yah are kept. See, in wisdom and understanding, that's where they're kept. That's the chest of Yah. It is a treasure chest of wisdom and knowledge. That's where it's kept.
Hallelujah.
It's kept there. It's not by some kind of intelligence or you think you speak well. That is so stupid. That is the maturity of this generation.
True.
They're so stupid.
Hallelujah.
You have this high exalted look of you and you think, that's crazy. I don't ever want to think like that. I'm not going to think like that. I'm not. Because I do the same thing as a poor, uneducated man does. I sleep the way he does. I eat. My body hurts like his. And the process of life is the same for him as it is for me. And you got to be a fool to think that Bill Gates dropped gold when he sits on the stool. That's how stupid we is.
Yes. Hallelujah.
That's how stupid we is. That's how immature we is. And that's just a fact. That's just a fact. I want to give us one thing tonight. I want to take my time. I want to give us one thing that gives us this great fire of what assurance is. And I believe that any of the writers of the book could have expressed it. And I believe Shaul there in 1 Thessalonians, There's no one that could have expressed it like him. We should never forget this. First Thessalonians chapter 1, quickly at verse 4. He says, knowing, understanding, yada, having the knowledge, the wisdom, knowing, he identifies who he's talking to. He's talking to the YisraYah'ale Achim, the house of YisraYah'ale, and he calls them beloved, those that are in the heart of Almighty Yah. He says, knowing, you must understand one thing. We are the band of YisraYah'ale. We must know our YHWH, our election. Yah calls us the born here, the elect, the select, the chosen, knowing your election. And the word YHWH means the same as Bachir. It is about the process of Almighty Yah selecting. It has not been you or prayer that select you. It was the process of Yah. Knowing your election of Yah, he tells us. For as our message came not to you in word only, you can't say you love Yah and you love YisraYah'ale in word only. There's action. You said the man said he loves his wife, she loves him. There is never no action. There's no fidelity, the kindness, the touch, embracing. Get out of here. See, we have words of love. I don't care if you don't know how to express it. Express it. I don't care how you feel. I don't care if you feel funny. You shouldn't feel funny. Silly. And that's just a fact. So, love is not just an expression. There are components to love. The tenderness, the kindness, the affection, the feel, the touch. And that's what God has done for us. He touched us.
Hallelujah.
As the song, he touched us with his feeling and a chana. That's what it is. So it's more than this composition of what we think love is. He said, no, not. He sent forth our message. Came not to you in words only, but also in power of the Ruach HaKodesh. And then he says it came in this fashion, for one thing, for much assurance. For much and in much assurance. That it solidifies you. Make your heart bold for Yah, and that's a will to oppose anything that is not written in the Torah of wisdom that brings understanding and knowledge about Yah. The internet cannot teach you about what's happening today and all this composition of death throughout the world. It is so silly that these immature individuals are to tell you who started this. How would they know? They have no medical, scientific knowledge. They don't even study stuff like that. They don't even look, well, it came from this, and that German, I know, where do you read that from? Some crazy fruitcake, as about as fruity as you are. And they come up with some of the most wildest compositions of tales. And only someone that is very weak will believe their lies. That will believe their lies. It is one thing about Nachash, that mind of Chashatan, it will not reveal. Men have been the best of friends, and that one had the devil in him. He didn't realize that he was going to kill him. And his best friend, he turned against him. And the one that he called his dearly beloved friend. That's just the way it works, nation. We must have much assurance. As you know what manner of men we were among you for your sake. We must have that assurance. We know we must understand the manner of man Yahshua is. For who? For your sake. For your sake. And unless there are circumstances where it creates this emotion of doubt, whereby you must have confidence you cannot overcome by mere emotion. It takes something that is greater than your emotion.
Hallelujah.
It takes something that's more profound than your feeling. And it takes the Emunah.
Hallelujah.
We must have that. We must understand the promises, because it brings the assurance. Without a promise, there is no assurance.
Hallelujah.
You have no assurance without promises. And there are those that have utilized that statement. There are those that have waited for 20, 30 years on that one, that promised them, I'll be back. And they waited. And there was not a day that passed that they did not consider, not think about, but that did not circumvent them to carry out their obligation and their responsibility. And all of a sudden the door and the shadow darkens the door. And the tears of delight, rejoicing, of great assurance and confidence began to flow from one's face. When their eyes beckon the one that they long to see, and they wonder, if I would ever see him, that's what we're looking to see. We're looking to see Yahshua HaMashiach. That's what we're looking, that's our assurance. And that is the thing that give us much assurance, without doubting, with great confidence. I will not stumble at that. I will not. In life I will not, in death I will not. Because life will take me into death, and I will not stumble at that.
Hallelujah.
Period. But wait on his promises. And without a promise, there's no assurance. I promise you I'm going to get you that. Buy your bicycle. Remember the first bicycle I got? My cousin bought it for me. It was not the 3 speeds or the 5 speeds. The bikes that the boys were riding then. She got it from Sears, and I think about 1965. It was not handsome. It was like the Pee Wee Herman bike. Big and bulky and heavy. It didn't have the handbrakes. I didn't want to ride that. But I tell you what, it was one conclusion I came through to. Once I did ride it, there was nothing could outrun it. The 5 speeds, 3 speeds. You got to roll it. You may get me on the jump. But once I start churning in those 27-inch rims, she's going to walk you down. And when I realized that I had something that was better, faster, stronger, oh, I toyed them all the time. I would make it roll. I would make it run. It was not attractive. It didn't have the sleek handlebars. Never forget it. Red with some white stripes in the fenders. I didn't like it. But I learned to love it, because nobody in a city block race could beat me. No money. No money. I would not trade that bike. I hated it. And so there are things that will come our way that we would hate, but it's for your own excellent people. It is for our own excellent. Wisdom deal with those that are in the pathway. YHWH shows us a road here in Ibram, in Hebrews chapter 10. And not only is this path, as it is identified as the beaten path, but it is the road of the path that has been sealed by one of the most profound promises. It is a sure word. And that is what assurance is. It is the certainty. It is the surety. And he writes here, Hebrews 10:20. And he writes profoundly with great utterance here. He opens up this by a new and living way. Yahshua brought the way to life. That which was behind the veil, only the Haggadah could go there. Yet he has given us the power to go beyond the veil. He says by a new living way which he has set apart for us, for the nation, for his people, the elect. Through the veil, through that curtain that was brought down through the veil, that is to say, his flesh.
Hallelujah.
Turn this one off. You all cold. Turn this one off. I saw. Who is that getting cold? That's all. You cold, Mama? All right. That's all right. I'm all right. Just turn that off. I'd rather you'll be all right. All right? How about that? He talks about this new and living way, which by the veil, by the curtain or the veil of his flesh, semicolon, and having a kohan hagadol over Beit Mikdash of Yah. And there's one that is over the house of YisraYah'ale, over the body. And that is YHWH HaMashiach. That's who it is. Let us, this is what we must do. We must draw near with a true heart. We got to examine ourselves. You can't be full of pretense and falsehood. You can pretend all you want to. It has to be a love that is true. It can't indict you. It doesn't indict me. It must be emet. It must be a faithful heart. It must be a sincere. We must draw near. That's the only way you get near to Yah, with the true heart. He said, with a true heart. How? In full. See, that's the only thing that's going to give us. I don't care about the death. It's going to come. Death is going to happen.
Hallelujah.
And that's a fact. As I stated in the beginning, yesterday in New York City, there was one dying every 2 minutes because of the corona. But every day in New York, there's 7,000, nearly 500. I rounded off, it's actually 7,450 something, 51. So I rounded off to the nearest. That's not those that have been murdered. Nobody knows about it. Those that have been taken and dumped. Come on, nation. There's 7,500 people that die every day in New York.
Yes.
Every single day. Somebody dies there every 12 seconds. Boom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, 11. Boom. Someone else dies. And that's just a fact.
Yes.
Someone dies.
True.
There are not 50,000 people in New York. There are over 375 million people in America. And if there was not a process of life and death, there would not even be enough food for everyone. And that's a fact. And we would truly see the savage nature of people. Hallelujah. So we must draw, first of all, with the true heart. That we understand the depths and the thralls of sin. How it will destroy our confidence in Yah. And we must have a true heart. In order that it will be established by the pleuro, the full assurance of faith, of emunah. That's what gives you the full assurance, is that you believe. I don't care what no one says. As they would say, I believe, I believe, I believe, I believe, because I believe, I believe, because I believe, I believe, I believe. I don't have to explain my or how I believe.
Hallelujah.
but I trust him.
Hallelujah.
And I shall. In life, I'm going to trust him. And in death, I'm going to trust him.
Hallelujah.
It is certain you're going to leave this realm of life.
Bless you, Abba.
That's a fact. You're going to leave. In full assurance of Imunah, we must have faith to operate in the full assurance. If we don't have the Imunah of Yah, you don't operate in the full assurance of Yah. That's why our minds are easily swayed from this point to that extreme, from that extreme to that focus. That's why our minds are so easily persuaded. We must have the fullness, the full assurance of Imunah. We must believe in the finished work of YHWH HaMashiach. Did he suffer? Sure he did. Was he ever entrapped with fear? Sure he was, nation. His battles were like yours. They were no different. He came in the body and the form of flesh. He is the one that made it. He is the word that made flesh. He experienced that to give us the total victory in life, death, that we may rest in the full assurance. Regardless of my state, we must all rest in the full assurance. Regardless of my battles, because I don't care. If you're 6'5", 230 pounds, strong, physical, and handsome, you have the same battles as one that is weak and fragile. It makes no difference at all. And that's just a fact. I would not think that you go through something like that. You've never heard people say that to someone? Sure. I don't know what they think. We all go through the same sin door. And it's no different, nation. You have to understand that. Your battles are no different than someone else. You learn how to confront them and confess them. You find it to be better. It will be better. I've had people come to me, well, if I've done you wrong, brother, get out of my face. You know what you did, liar. Tell me if you done me wrong. You know when you do someone wrong.
Yeah.
That's a coward way.
Bless you, yeah.
Only a coward would say that. When you're a coward, that's how you talk. You say, man, I was wrong. I did, man. Brother, I was wrong. I ain't gonna lie. I did this and I did that. And I did that. Yeah, I stole your money, man. I ain't lying. Yeah, I did it. Man, I feel so bad. That's the only way, when you confess fault, that's the only thing that's going to break you down. When you're arrogant, and selfish, and pompous, you will never confess. You will never see you're wrong. You will never see it. You will see everybody's wrong, where they've gone wrong, what they've done. You will never see yours. That's a sick mentality. I don't ever want to be like that. I don't ever want to be like that. Because I've never been like that. If that makes you great, no, it just makes me honest enough to know that I'm stupid and foolish. I do wrong, I'm telling you that. I'm stupid. That was immature of me. I should have done that. I was wrong.
True.
And that's a fact. That's the way I roll.
Yes.
I don't roll with no pretense of falsehood. I roll that way.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Let us draw near with this full heart, full assurance, and then having our levim sprinkled from this evil conscience.
Yes.
Our mind's got to be sprinkled with truth, with the promises of God. Shalom, His word. It's got to be sprinkled. That's why you got to hear it.
Hallelujah.
I don't want no steak without some salt and pepper at least. Got to have a little seasoning on that. You don't need nothing on a steak but a little salt. You don't need all those fancy spices. That's all you need. A little salt. I don't want no pepper. Just give me a little salt. Get that pan right. Drop me some pure butter. That's what I said, pure butter. And drop it down in there. And let it get brown. And I like mine crusty on that side. And it get brown and crusty. Then you flip it over. Let that side get brown and crusty. I don't mind a few cloves of whole garlic in there. I don't need no onions. I don't need the farm in there because it makes the steak watery, it makes the pan watery. I can do it afterwards. And just let it set for about 2 minutes. I doubt if I can do that. But let it set for a couple of minutes and let the substance of that reconstitute within that. That's a steak. That's how you do a steak, man. That's right. A broiler, just put it and let it get all crispy, brown, little crust on there. Flip it and let it broil for a while. You can just let it sit there, it'll cook.
Yes.
Just leave it right there in the oven. As when it get brown, leave it alone.
True.
And then throw you a third of a pound of butter on it.
Yeah.
That's right.
True. Hallelujah.
That's a real steak. That's I like mine. That way. That's fine.
Hallelujah.
It's one thing that a promise is based upon. When you promise someone something, it's based upon a pledge. You can't promise without pledging to them. And that's what Yah has done, nation.
Hallelujah.
And I want to just open this up for a moment. The power of Yah's promise that He has pledged to us. And sometimes we look at words of the graphics in Torah. Because we don't go beyond the page of that, we don't understand what the word implies or what it means. And we don't understand the attributes of the word. Say a word like earnest. That he earnest contended for emunah. Let's go to 2 Corinthians. In 2 Corinthians, chapter 1, verse 20, I began. For all the promises of Yah in Yahshua, yes. That's His pledge. They are yes. Now they are not fulfilling us because we go around Yahshua HaMashiach. But that's what He says. He said all of them. So there is nothing that is missing. They are yes. All the promises of Yah in Yahshua are yes. And in Him, Amen. So be it. The faithfulness of Yah. So be it. May it be fulfilled to the honor of Yah by us. Now He which established us with you in Yahshua. I don't care if you're there, I'm here. Yah is the one that established us all together in Yahshua. So at times we think that our pains are different than others. But that's not the truth.
Hallelujah.
Someone with arthritis, it's the same if you're in Charlotte, you're sitting in New York City in a penthouse. It makes no difference. And I use that as an analogy. One that is a broken heart, it makes no difference if he's sitting in Phoenix, Arizona, or down there in Pawtucket, Mississippi. It's the same. And so we legitimately think that my trials are different than yours. That's not true. They're the same.
Hallelujah.
They are always to remove you from emunah, from confidence of the promise, assurance of Yah's pledge. And that's why we get emotional. And Yah allows that. Just look at Eeyore. He knew he was an outstanding citizen in the hand of Yah.
Yes.
Yet he did not realize how misplaced he was. And that's the thing, that if we just take heed to me, I don't need to take heed to you.
Hallelujah.
Take heed to yourself. You need to examine you. You found out you're not made out what you think you is. All right? Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
He established us in Yahshua HaMashiach, and not only that, He has anointed us. He has poured the oil of gladness upon us. It is Almighty Yahweh.
Yes.
That's the one that has done it.
Hallelujah.
He has. He established the crown of Yahshua, and He established that in us. He gave us that one thing, and that is just believe. We believe. We believe everything. We believe news when we hear it.
Yes.
We believe that.
True.
We believe everything we hear but this.
Hallelujah.
We believe stories we don't even know the source where it came from. We look at people, we examine them. It sounds nice, and you carry the same lot to someone else. And that's just a fact.
True.
And this is what we should carry to everyone. We see each other, we should carry this.
Hallelujah.
We may all operate in the full assurance of Almighty God. Let me ask you. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Let's get this. He is the one that has anointed us, Almighty God. Verse 22. Who has also, this is a pledge of Yah. He has sealed us.
Hallelujah.
He has sealed us and given the earnest. Born. He has given us the earnest. He has the earnest of the Ruach in our heart. In essence, there is no other price. There's no other price can be paid but the price that has already been paid in full. That is what that word implies. That which was pledged, it has been paid.
Hallelujah.
That's the earnest. He has given the full price. Everything is paid out. There is no balance at all. None. And that's what is to give us that full assurance. Regardless of what the circumstances are, how they may prevail against us and make us weak, and we all fall into that.
Yes.
If you say you haven't, then you're a liar. You're a flat-out liar. There is no truth in you. We all have fallen to that.
True. Hallelujah.
We all have succumbed to that.
Yes.
There's not a man alive, even YHWH, when he prayed to the above, when he understood the pain of death, he didn't see the pain of death as the creator of death. He saw the pain of death as one that had to battle in this form of this physical body. But he paid the price. He gave us full assurance is what he did.
Yes. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. That he has given us the earnest of the Ruach in our heart. That's what he has given us. He has given us the pledge. And that's what he has poured out Ruach within the depths of our being. That we may have great confidence in death, in battle, in sickness. We're going to contend with all of that nation.
Yes.
Don't let nobody trick me. We're going to contend with all that. We're going to contend with pain, sickness. And the final result is death. But yet in that death, there's life.
Hallelujah.
How am I going to feel? You won't be able to come back and tell me how you felt. I'm glad of that.
Hallelujah.
I'm glad of that. Once that door is shut, it's shut. I wonder what it's going to feel like. Well, I'm not wasting my time wondering what it's going to feel like, because I wouldn't know it. I couldn't tell you no way.
Hallelujah.
That's stupid. I don't sit around wasting my time. I really don't. That's not to say you get old pain once in a while and something hits. Ow! That's silly. To think that that doesn't happen. We got this juvenile belief system. Well, baby, I had pain right there. Come in here, guy. You want it close to you then. That's right. Just pray for me. Ooh. That's a fact. We're some silly people. We're a mess. We are. No, you. And you're a mess. We is.
Hallelujah.
We must come to the realization of that. The full assurance of Yah. His assurance is not based on some words that are empty, void words, but based upon truth, empirical evidence. I don't care what no one said. You can explain the birth and the death. You can explain that. You can explain it. I just believe it.
Hallelujah.
And when you try to explain it, you're gonna mess up. Because you're trying to explain it to a fool. And a fool cannot comprehend the things of Yah. Well, I don't believe that. I'm the God. I know you is. I know you is. And days coming, you're going to meet the monster of the gods. You got to pay up, boss man. You're a cheap God because you can't even keep yourself alive. That is so silly, isn't it? Yeah, it is. Stupid. Stupid. It's amazing that the God goes the way of a poor man. I don't care if he's in the dungeon of filth. He dies just like a rich man. No different. You can be pompous with the rich man and celebrate him, but the rich man will be forgotten.
Hallelujah.
That's a fact. Just like the poor pauper. He was forgotten. Rich man will be forgotten. Nobody think about who died last year. That's a fact. Let me press on. This is one of the most important things, YisraYah'ale, because we believe, and if we believe, we will trust him, all right? If we believe, if we just believe, you will trust him. I don't care what the battles are, you will trust him. Joe gives us a great emphasis here. In Ephesians chapter 1, beginning at verse 11. This is the pledge of his surety and certainty. Shaul writes in verse 11, in whom we must understand it. Ephesians 1:11, in whom Yoshua also we have obtained an inheritance, a kliro. A kliro. We must understand this is the same process of the kliro is that when Yoshua died, then they cast lots for his garment. And that is what kliro means, that the lot has already been casted. You don't have to wait. Yah has cast the lot in the death of Yeshua HaMashiach. This is what he said. Being that we were proorizo, that we were predestinated. It was foreordained. Had nothing to do with your heritage, your mama, your daddy. Had nothing. How they lived or what they said. But it was determined by the lot that was cast from the foundation of the world.
Hallelujah.
And he knew that the offering that he has always commanded would be that. The blood offering. The blood offering. And he raised up that offering just like Abraham willing, whereby all the promises. And he laid his son on the altar to offer up unto Yah. So that is our pleruz zor. That the lot has been cast in your shoes. It has been predestinated before. And so we are appointed by Yah. And our trials that we're going to be tried with and tested, you're going to overcome, nation. We will overcome. Hallelujah. We just got to be reminded of me, my sins, and my corruptions. Being predestinated according to the purpose. This is not your purpose. It is the purpose of him. Who works all things by the counsel of his own will. That was his purpose. Well, I mean, no, you didn't make it in. It was the purpose of Almighty Yah. He doesn't need my counsel nor your counsel. I did not counsel him on making the sun or the moon. It was by his own counsel. It was by the word, and the word of the mind of Yah is Yeshua HaMashiach. He is the word that was made by that own counsel. Well, he was born of Yosef, your life. He came, well, he was immaculate. He came by the will of God through flesh. He had no beginning and no ending because he is and he still is. And that's just a fact. And by your own foolish counsel, you try to give some kind of explanation to that. Give me an explanation to the heavens above. How far can you see? Just give me an explanation on that. You can't. This is how crazy we is. You can't explain everything. You cannot explain everything.
True.
You can explain very little.
Hallelujah.
But it's one thing certain, you can explain your sins
Yes.
and your corruption,
Hallelujah.
your ways and your evilness. That you can. You can explain the dynamics of a star no more than you can explain the dynamics of a blade of grass out there.
Hallelujah.
I watch the little ones that, all these weeds growing around here, they are picking flowers. That little one, she walks over to me with this hand of the flowers today. She picked them. I'm looking at her. She picks them. And she walks over to me and she says, Papi, for you. And I said to her, Toda for your kindness. And she said, you're so welcome. I almost got the draw of what's those things? Mentos. You almost want to give a roll of Mentos for that. And she had a beautiful smile when she said that. It made me happy. I almost want to open up the drawer of Mentos. I got little drawers, I got Mentos in them. This meeting, forgive me. So I don't use anything, I just point. Do that. That one knows exactly where to go. Just like that. Okay. I don't say nothing because I don't want her to hear. And Mama Sippy, I just leave that alone, okay? Just do like this. She's going to hide them all so she can't find them. I'll find them. Listen to this nation. He did all things by his own counsel. For what reason? That we should be to the praise of his honor and splendor. Who first trusted in YHWH HaMashiach. You've given us an expanse in time that is so beautiful.
Yes.
That we trust in Yeshua, in whom you also trusted. After that you heard. I didn't know anything about Yeshua. I had known the way that I was raised in. And when he opened up my receptacles to hear, to shemach, to allow it to penetrate the veneer of all of this corrupt flesh. Oh, you have heard things which you didn't hear, you understand. And shemach is the ability to perceive with perfect obedience. He said, you heard the word of truth. The message of your salvation, in whom this is what it's all about. After that you believed. If I believe and I know after I hear the truth and I know I'm wrong, I believe. That is the resurrection. That is the cleansing and the forgiveness of Yah's power to wash us. When you believe, you were frachidzo, you were sealed. I like that word. I like the way it sounds. Vragidzo. S-R-A-G, frach. I notice the F is silent. Two constants. Frach. It's ID. Zo. Vragidzo. I like what it means. If I can't pronounce any of them, that one I can't pronounce. Fragidzo. I want to define that for you. Fragidzo. It is this. We were sealed. It is concealed. It has concealed this nation. To hide. Keep us, or he has kept in silence. And he keep us secret.
Hallelujah.
Devil is hunting and he ain't finding nothing. Vragidzo. I like that. That's why it's important, nation, to understand what we read. We were sealed with what? With Haruach HaKodesh of promise. That's where that is where the assurance comes. There must be a promise. And so the Ruach sealed the promise that even in all of our doubt, in all of our disbelief, we still believe. We're going to stay the course of his confidence. That's what we're going to do. We've been sealed, fragile. So we've been sealed, we've been hidden from the world. They're trying to find, they don't know what they look. That's why them were cults down there. That's all right, I like that. It doesn't bother me one bit. I don't have to defend that. Not one bit. It doesn't bother me. I have never allowed what people have said. I don't care what they say. It has never bothered me. Not one bit at all. We have been sealed with the Ruach of promise. That is the assurance. You have no assurance without a promise. I'll be back. I promise you. I promise you. That's what gives the one the assurance. You've never said that. I've seen mother. Baby, I'll be right back. I promise I'll be back. I promise you. It gives them that assurance. It gives them that confidence. And in that promise of assurance, they feel safe. She says she'll be back. And when they hear the sound, then their hearts rejoice. Their hearts delight. And so it's the same thing with Yah in the midst of all of the battles and trials, death and life. He's there. That's what it's all about. He's there, nation. He's there, so we take hold of his promise. And if we don't have the promises of Yah, then we're not going to have assurance. We're going to be up and down. I want to be stable.
Hallelujah.
I don't want to be up and down. I want to be stable, nation.
Hallelujah.
We have the seal of promise. That is the earnest. The earnest. It is the pledge. It is what has purchased us, which is the earnest inheritance until the redemption, until we are released by the payment that has already been paid in full. That's our redemption. YHWH has paid the price, the redemption of the purchased possession. We've already purchased.
Hallelujah.
He has bought us and purchased us from the power of our own sin, nachash, and the will of our flesh that open up the canister to the darkest things of darkness from Hashatan and purchase possession. For what reason? To the praise of his honor and his splendor. Even in the midst of death and trial, there is still a praise and honor that we must shower upon him, nation. And that's the fact of it all. And not only that, but he gives us the confidence of his great assurance. And he gives us that nation, and that's a fact. Hallelujah. The promise is based in one thing. I love this with YHWH. How he gave confidence and assurance when he made himself known unto them that they had all his Talmudim that began to turn their own way and go their own way. And he met them on that road of Damascus. Here in Luke chapter 24 verse 9. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Verse 49, I do apologize. Luke 24, 49. This is what he says, and behold, I send the promise. You have no assurance without the promise. Luke 24, 49. I send the promise of my Abba upon you. He said, but I want you to wait in the bosom, in the city or the mother above, Yerushalayim, until you are clothed with power from above, from on high. And that's what we must be clothed with, nation. Our clothing must be the clothing from on high. And that is, we must shower ourselves in the garment of Sadiq, We must be righteous. We must clothe, we must shod our feet. Our feet must be prepared with the preparation of this message of shalom. We must.
Hallelujah.
We must have the shield of faith. We must clothe ourselves in the garments of righteousness.
Hallelujah.
Until you be clothed with power from on high. And he led them out of Bethany. And he lifted up his hand and he blessed them. And it came to pass, while he blessed them, he parted from them.
Hallelujah.
And he was carried into the Shemaiah. He blessed them. They are the representation of the house of YisraYah'ale. And he has blessed us as a nation in the midst of all of circumstances and trials that we will endure. Life, death, and this thing that is taking place, it is not the most traumatic thing that has happened, but let us be wise as a people.
Yes.
Let us not be foolish.
Hallelujah.
Let us not be foolish. You're not that bold and brazen. I'm not going to walk into a place with men that have tuberculosis and their flesh putrefied or leprosy because it is contagious. It just doesn't make sense. So you prepare yourself. The world is afraid. And that's a fact. I'm going to stand his ground. And I'm going to stay on his ground. That's it. I'm not going to move, all right? Hallelujah. I want to close with this. This is the comfort and blessing. In Yah's obedience, this is what Shalom said in the writings of wisdom as I began this teaching. But this is what the Noble Yeshaya Isaiah says. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
The assurance that we shall rest in. He says here in Isaiah 32:15. That's why we just wait, nation. Don't become impatient. He said, just wait. Verse 15, 32:15, Isaiah. Until her Ruach be poured out upon us from high. This is what Yeshua said, that the Ruach will come from high. Just wait. And the wilderness be a fruitful field, and the fruitful field be counted for forest. It makes no difference of the circumstances, whether they're fruitful, forest. You don't know how to find the way. He shall pour out because he has elected us. He shall pour out the fruit of the wisdom from above high. And then he says in 16, then judgment shall dwell in the wilderness. Makes no difference where you are. And the righteousness shall remain in the fruitful field. And the works of righteousness, Sadiq, shall be shalom. When you do righteous, you will have peace.
Hallelujah.
With everyone. I don't care if they're wicked. I don't care how corrupt. When you do righteous, you will have shalom. When you don't have shalom with me because you're not doing righteous, even I can be the biggest of all fools as long as you do the works of righteousness. And the works of righteousness is shalom because you know who is in command and who is in control. The works of Sadiq shall be shalom. And the effects of Sadiq or righteousness, it will be quietness. You will be quiet and still. You will have no doubt. And not only is it quietness, but it is betach. It is assurance, not for a moment, forever. That's what gives you that kind of assurance that you can feed on. Like we feed on folly and wickedness, and the here says you can feed on this, the righteousness of the quietness of Yah. And that is what produces shalom. You feed on all kind of folly and things that have no value at all. But this is what gives us the assurance forever. The the botach, the security. We're safe without any doubt. And it is forever. Not momentarily, but it is forever when you get your heart right. And that's just the fact of Torah nation.
Hallelujah.
It's not what I say, what I believe. It's what is written. And sealed in the dam of YHWH HaMashiach. When you have the works of righteousness, there's a quietness, not being silly. And there you, and we can get all silly. Well, I'm just going to be quiet because that is so immature. If that is not immature, I don't know what immaturity is. And I'm talking to all of you.
Hallelujah.
You, your mama, your daddy, it makes no difference. That's not what quietness is. You don't talk to people. They don't even talk, and they talk more about their emotion, their feeling, their look, their disposition. You talk more that way than by verbalizing. My grandmother would say, look at that old heart, look at that boy, look at it. She could tell by expressions and movements at all. You don't have to say nothing. We're that crazy. You don't have to say one thing, and they could read you. They could tell. They knew. And they were not off. And that's a fact. And that's what the righteousness does. It brings the beauty of quietness. You don't battle in your quiet. There are folks that battle their quiet pretense, falsely. And they do more damage in their quietness. And you can tell when they respond, it is not favorable. And that's just a fact. So let us examine ourselves, nation. Even in the midst of all this death, examine you.
Hallelujah.
And to make sure you're right. To meet, as the old ones would say, meet your maker. Because we all are going to meet him. There's not one of us that's going to take that same corridor. You're not going to turn right when they say turn that way, you got to turn that way. When it's time to turn, it's time to turn. That's why it's a beautiful thing that we do righteous.
Yes.
We may have that full assurance, nation.
Hallelujah.
And you do righteousness by quietness. That's how you do it. Just don't fight, Just be quiet. Don't murmur and don't complain.
Hallelujah.
Your problems and my circumstances, they're the same.
True.
Your battles, as the old ones would say, we got the same enemy. And not just the devil, that's Nechash, is your own mind.
Yes.
That question and doubt. So we're all in the same battle. May the riches of Yah rest upon you all. And cause our hearts to delight in the promises of Yah. I simply want to give us some kind of assurance. It was what was in my heart for this teaching tonight, because we need assurance, nation.
Hallelujah.
We need that. We got to learn above all things. We must, as a people, learn how to care for each other.
Hallelujah.
And so every time one of these, what they call their stars, do something, this one bought meals for everyone. Well, you've got $300 million. What is that to buy a meal? You dirty dog. These greedy bastards.
Yes.
Give it to the people, those that have made you that money. What do you need $300 million for? You keep $20 million. That's a lot of money. I'll tell you what, you keep 50, give your children, put something back for them, and then you take the rest and you give it to those that made you the $300 million. I will never be a man that has utilized the people to make a tremendous amount of money. I've always said if I was a businessman, I would take 50% of our revenue and give it back to the people in all kinds of ways. Raises and plans, so on. If you do right by people, they'll do right by you.
True.
You just do right by them.
Hallelujah.
Then I take 25% of that, run the corporation, whatever, to advance, whatever. That's what I would do. And then I would take 25%. But then I would not keep 25%. But that's the way I would do things. And that's just it. There's nothing like a man or someone being kind. Not like this dog up here in Amazon. I hate even buying it. I hate Amazon as much as I hate Walmart. But when they deliver that stuff on time, ouch. They come here every day. I got so much stuff in the pipeline. Well, it's for the community and what we need to do. I tell the children I don't care what no one's purchased this. We got this big cargo netting. I think it's almost long as this tabernacle. It's 50 foot long. Wide is this? I got to do something with the boys, the girls. We got another playground coming tomorrow. She asked me, Papa, could you climb that tree? Baby girl, I could climb that tree. When I was young, I would climb the telephone pole. That's what I did. I could scat up a telephone. I was just too afraid to get close to that wire. I never could understand how the birds could sit up there. They don't get fried. But we would climb. We get barefooted. We could climb. Man, baby girl climbing a tree. I could go to the top of any tree out here where I was. That's something the nature boys. I don't want them cooking dirt pies, stirring in pots. I don't want them to be dirt chefs. So I was out the other day measuring. I wanted to make sure I got something that would get way up there in the tree. I want to get way up there. I said, the Zah came last night. I don't know how we're going to configure this. I wonder whether they can climb on top of that building right there and just slide down on it. That's right. That's right, little Carol. I want them to come up on that building and slide down. Yeah, get up in the tree and jump down. And I said, Zah, we got to fix this thing. And well, you know they're going to do it. He jumped down on us. I don't want to hit the ground. He said, yeah, we'll get that. That's why I got you out here to show me. I said, we got that cable. We'll tie it up in the trees and wrap flex pipe around it so it will not hurt the tree limbs. Clean out that tree a little bit. They can get up there. And I'm crazy. I did. I tried to get the man to give me a discount. He said, sure, we give you, I know what they cost. I know. You get a little small net on Amazon, it costs you $100. This is what they put on those big cargo ships that sail the ocean. It's 55 foot long, 45 foot wide. I don't even have nowhere to put that. Take one side way up in the top of that tree. He'll go up there. And they can use the net to climb up there. That's right. Get some of them tall 16-foot poles and anchor them, and they'll go up there. They'll enjoy it. Have you? That's right. That's what I want the boys doing. I don't need them baking no dirt biscuits. I don't need them making no dirt soup. I don't need them stirring the pots. I want them to be lumberjacks. I want them to come up in the tree and jump down. That's what I want. Either this is of Yah, rest upon you all. I want to do the boys' thing. When I was a boy, we ran, trumped through the woods, through the creeks, picking blackberries. The only thing I dared eat was those strawberries, the wild ones, because I was thought were poison. If it's a strawberry, it can't be poison. No, I mean, how do you know? Do you ever eat one? All right. All right. You never eat one. You never eat one. So how you know how poison it is? You don't know. We pick blackberries and wild plums, weighed them if they were green, all red. And there was nothing like a wild plum with a little salt on it. The sour one, you bite it. And so we had. You put a little salt. You never did that? We did. You did that? Huh? Okay then. All right. That's a man's thing. That's a boy's thing. Daughters didn't go out to the woods and trump like us. You go to the creek. Nah, y'all do like that. You go out to the pond and fish. We would climb trees. We would go. Black brothers and all that, get up on the big old sand here like that, this pit, and we would trump barefooted. And have no shoes. We would roam. That's what we did. We didn't bake no dirt cookies, all right? I've got something for you. I want you to start exercising, climbing up that net, and make you go up it 50 times in a day. We all tripped down. Bless you all. See? We enjoyed your YHWH here. Do support this work, all right?
Hallelujah.
And be encouraged. Let us stand to our feet. Hallelujah. Turn toward YHWH in all things we do above for the excellence of your comforts. We shall walk in the assurance of Yeshua HaMashiach. In this hour and the time that we're in, bless your nation, give them strength, and comfort them in all the battles, and give us all that reassurance in Yeshua HaMashiach as we doubt and as we wrestle with me.
Yes,
We do barak you for all things. Bless YisraYah'ale, scattered in every part of the Olam, the Arabics, in every place. We told you for your blessings, your riches, in Yeshua's mighty name. We shall give your name the greatest of honor. Heal us all, touch all the Zakeim, the elders here, You know they're constantly on my mind and my heart.
Yes,
Bless and touch them all individually, I pray. In Yeshua's name. Hallelujah.
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 Hallelujah. Big, big,
I would like to.
Just tell her when she get off, she'll
Hallelujah.
If my people who are called by my name would just humble themselves and pray, seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, I will hear from heaven and forgive their sins, and I will heal their land. Heal us, Yahweh, and we shall be healed. Save us, Yahweh, and we shall be saved. Heal us, Yahweh, and we shall be healed. Save us, Yahweh, for you are our praise.
Unto those that fear Yahweh's name, Yeshua shall arise with healing in his wings, his wings.
Heal us, Yahweh, and we shall be healed. Save us, Yahweh, and we shall be saved. Heal us, Yahweh, and we shall be healed. Save us, Yahweh, for you are our praise. Yahweh is my strength and my soul, and has become my salvation. I will trust in him and will not be afraid.